Sims, let's go.
Hello, everyone. It's your girl, Miracle Sims, and you're watching the GSL Talk Show. Tonight, we're going to be chatting with Miss Leticia Sablan. So stay tuned.
It's a miracle, baby. Shot chill. Miracle Sims, let's go. Yeah. It's a miracle, baby. Shot chill. Miracle Sims, let's go.
But I'm not the type of girl that goes.
Yeah. It's a miracle, baby. Shot
Welcome back to the GSL Talk Show. I'm here with Miss Leticia Sablan.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yes, hello to you as well. Oh, man, I'm excited because I got her name right, y'all. So, you know, she confirmed that I said the name correct. So I'm going to be like,
Yes. That was exciting for me too.
oh, yay. So, look, it's got to be cool. It's got to be cool. So, tell us where you're from and a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm from Galveston, Texas, about 40 miles from Houston. So we call it an island. A lot of people say that's really not an island because the water's not blue, but it's our island, our water, and we love Galveston, right? I was born and raised there, and it's a tourist town now. But when I was little, it was, my town, and I remember being able to walk to the store, walking down the beach, and it was just so many memories there. But now you go there, and it's this big tourist town that people are everywhere, and it's a great place to go, like for staycation. If you've never been there, I highly recommend you go. It's very economical. But yeah, and then you could go there and then go to Houston too. So two places at once. But yeah, that's where I'm from. I'm a nurse. I've been a nurse for almost it'll be 25 years this year. But I actually stopped working at the bedside about 10 years ago, and I'm actually an HR professional. I started recruiting nurses about 10 years ago, and I love recruitment. So I started as a contract recruiter in the hospital where I worked as a nurse. I had a friend that was working there, and she asked me to come work with her. And I said, sure, let me give it a try. And ever since then, I haven't looked back. So I work as an HR professional, and I love it. And I have 4 boys. I'm a mom, 26, 20, 21. I have to think about it, 19 and 18. And they keep me pretty busy. And of course, my wonderful husband, we live here in Dickinson now. So my last son, he'll be graduating this year from Dickinson High School. And then after that, we probably won't know what to do. But yeah, that's who I am. That's where I'm at right now in my life.
Wow. Well, sounds amazing. First of all, it sounds like, your hometown is a great place to go visit. And you're right. If it has surrounding water, it's an island. It don't matter if the water's blue,
Right.
green, or red. It's an island.
Right.
And I mean, I haven't. The only place I've been thus far in Texas is, I know it's Selena. Am I saying it right? Selena. And then whatever major city is by there. I can't remember what airport I went into. But I had a homegirl is from Houston, so
Yeah.
Yeah. You sold it. You sold
Everybody
it.
loves Houston. Yes.
And then, I mean, so much to talk about. I mean, because I'm a boy mom as well. I have one son, but you're doing, and then, I mean, we gotta talk about the fact that you just lied and talk about you. How, I mean, because you got 20 something years old. I'm like, you look 20 something years old yourself. So how that works? And stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's
Let me say why, because I want to forget. Thank you for your service as a nurse. I know it's not military, or whatever, it's still a service because
Yeah.
people, that's a very important job. So,
Thank you. Thank you. I loved working at the bedside, and I think I did my part for as long as I could. So, it was time for a change, but I do miss it. I do miss working with patients, and
mhm,
I did work a little bit with prisoners. Somebody has to do that part, right? I worked in the
mhm,
prison care, taking care of inmates. I worked a little bit with the mothers and the babies. So I did a little bit of a clinic. I did a little bit of everything. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
And the one thing I will definitely say, like even just listening to you talk about it, is it's just such a beautiful thing to see somebody passionate about their job, happy to do what they're doing. It seems like you're really walking in your purpose, and I'm happy for you today. 'Cause,
Yeah.
yeah, I know when it comes to work and stuff like that, sometimes people are like, "Yeah, it's just a job," or it's And I never wanted to be one of those people. I was like always pursue like my passion, and so. I like to see other people doing that as well. So I can see that and I feel that from just
Yeah.
talking to you. So
And
yeah.
what's crazy is I wanted to be a fashion designer when I grew up. I wanted to be a fashion. I was always into clothes and dressing up and all of that. But my dad had cancer when I was like 16. And
Mm,
so my mom was always working at night. And I was the youngest of 8. So my brothers and sisters were either out on their own older. I was the only one at home. So I was giving him his medicine, giving him, making sure he had his meds at night
mhm,
and so forth. So I felt like, I was called to
mhm,
do that. So
yeah.
after that, he passed away when I was 17. Um, that's when I felt the calling to go into nursing. I
Mm,
still love clothing and, I still do that.
yeah.
Uh, I still dress up and all of that, but, it's like you think you're going to be something, right?
Mm.
But God calls you to do something. It's what he wants you to do, his purpose.
Oh yeah, for sure, definitely. I think all of us probably have been there. If you really do acknowledge it, that when you were younger, you thought you were going to do this, and then you end up doing something else, or you find that. And I feel like even with what you just shared, it kind of shows that like different parts of our life, we fulfill whatever that thing is at certain times. So, for example,
Right.
who knows? I don't know how you got down with your scrubs, but I know like the people. I mean, I've seen nurses get real fancy with their
Right.
scrubs or their Crocs or whatnot. Like I don't know, they're just a fashionista nurse. I don't know.
Right. Right. It's
And I
true.
have that passion
Yeah.
and show both passions at the same
That's
time.
right. That's true. That's so true. Yes, because you can. You can
Mhm.
dress it up. I see a lot of people, we can do that at work. So yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So true. Yeah.
You have it, then you can think about it. But if you have, again, you're using those different gifts in different capacities. And I think for me, like that's why I've tried to, because I grew up, wanting to act and do theater and things of that nature. And I went to college for theater. I did it. I do it. But at the same time, at some point, I had to be honest with myself about what it was that I truly wanted from that field
Hmm.
or whatever the case may be. And so eventually I realized that, well, really, I want to have businesses. I want to, be able to produce and different things of that nature. So once I started to realize that, it's not that I don't love performing, 'cause I do, but I realized that, okay, there's more to it than just like being in front of the camera or being up on the stage and all this different type of stuff. And so basically, I say all that to say that I feel like I've seen God use all of my gifts in different capacities.
Yes.
And even now, what I'm doing, it was this, or I'm looking at the church that I go to now, which was I'm doing like a God called appointed thing
Right.
because I wasn't necessarily thinking about it, but I'm thanking God for it every day because I'm like, I'm glad to get in alignment with what He wanted me to do versus trying to find it because I just don't see that going well. Anytime that we, try to walk our own path in that way. But I know a lot of people struggle with that too, though. So that's a whole
Yes.
other conversation. But
Yes. We can do another podcast on that, right? For probably hours.
yeah, I mean, hopefully we both can be encouragement for whoever listens and
Yes.
watches.
Yes.
Okay, then you can live your purpose. And I
It's
think the other thing too is that like you can walk in your purpose and live your purpose much more at peace when you do get in alignment with what it is. Because they say, like
right.
again, just with
Right.
you just now. You're like, hey, I did the nursing thing, and then now I'm recruiting, and I'm loving it, and all these different type of
Right.
things.
Right.
But like, can you imagine what your life would be if you've been like, I don't want to do this, or no, I
Right.
don't want to recruit, no, like, how
Yeah.
do you think that would have turned out?
And that's and that's what I look at now because
Mm,
even that now that I'm older and I'm able to like really have more wisdom about business, like how you said, and being able to say, you know what, maybe now I can start a small online business,
mm,
a clothing line or something, like
there
that,
you go.
a
Yeah.
Christian clothing line or whatnot. Now that
Hmm.
because again, God uses us he wants us to walk in his will, right? So when
Hmm.
we walk in his will and he teaches us along the way those things that he wants us to know so that we can use those things to build the next thing that he has
Mm,
for us, right?
mm,
So that's what, and I'm 52, so it's like I've learned so much. And so, like what you were
yes, y'all. You look great, man. Okay.
saying,
Shoot, it was 17, 18 out here talking. People probably say the same thing about me, but still.
yeah. Well, I think there's something different in the water. So everybody says that because
Mm,
we all look good, which is
yeah.
a big blessing. But I believe that God's doing something big really out
Mhm.
there, and He wants us to get out there and do more for the kingdom, and I'm really excited about that because this is the second half of my life, and I have all of these, ideas and things that He's stirring up inside of me, right? And I'm
Mhm.
like, wow, God, and I'm so glad that I walked the path that I did, even though I went through a lot of pain and a lot of darkness and did some things that I love to do and some things I didn't like to do. But now that I look back, I'm like, I learned so much. And now I'm going to take all of that and use it for the kingdom, moving forward. So,
I love that. I'm definitely an advocate for that. And I know, I don't know if you watch or listen to this gentleman, he's online, Marcus Rogers, but he says that often about like kingdom citizens, us, those of us that follow
yes,
Christ.
yes,
We need to be in all forms of businesses. Like we need to be in all forms of everything, and
yes,
having, like I said, having a business or having the trucks or having the whatever, because you never
yes,
know, like that might be the only resources we have at some
yes,
point.
seriously, yes.
Just yesterday, I was saw somebody talking about. I guess they started a Christian bank and
Mm,
whatnot, and it was based on what they experienced. I guess when Chase just let them go, out of nowhere and whatnot, and that kind of led them to, start a banking system that's like, hey, I guess geared towards Christians, but then also, understanding that, okay, this, when we donate into Christian organizations, like you don't have to worry
mm,
about all that type of extra stuff too. But I say all that to say again, like if you feel any prick or inkling right now as we're talking about, starting your business or starting your whatever the Lord wants you to do, I try to always promote that, like sometimes we look down on things when it's
right.
like at the end of the day, one of the things when I first started GSL, and I was just doing daily inspiration at that point, but one of the things that kind of held me accountable was to say like, okay, Miracle, if you was on a radio show doing like a morning show, you would get up every morning, you would set your alarm, you would do it like as if you're going to work or whatever the case may be, right? And so you got to treat this thing the same way. And so, I mean, I know God has me doing some things a little bit differently now, but there was like a few years, at least like 2 or 3 years, where I was consistently getting up in the morning, sharing daily inspiration Monday through Saturday. Like it was consistent, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I feel like God has me doing something else now, which I know people have been like, well, the people have been like my mom and my husband. They've been like,
Right.
what about the Jews? Why you ain't doing it every day no more? But I'm like, I feel like God has me in a different place right now where I'm receiving,
Right.
I'm
Right.
agreeing a lot. And it's just things that I don't feel like I'm supposed to be sharing, if that makes any sense. Like I feel like it's just
Yes, it does make yeah,
um,
that makes sense.
yeah, so I've
Yeah,
only been just kind
sure.
of doing it as I feel led to
Right.
share.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but there's something to it, basically. I'm saying again, saying
Right.
all this to
Yeah.
say there is something to, being obedient, like she was saying, and getting that thing going, because you never know. You never know, like, what God can do with your obedience. So that's what I just heard Miss Leticia. She said I was
Yeah.
obedient all the way, and I'm like, I'm over here cheering, like, yes, it's something to it, y'all. You just never know. I think that's the other thing too for me, that kept me motivated, was to know that there's somebody somewhere waiting for me to do what I'm supposed to be doing for the kingdom, for example. And
Yeah.
that motivated me. I know that doesn't motivate everybody. I try to share it, but some people don't seem motivated to know that there's somebody out there. But I'm like, we wouldn't talk right now. You know what I mean? We would not be talking right now if I was not obedient about almost 5 years ago. And so
Right. That's right.
it's just one of those things. I'm just trying to encourage people, man. Like, don't look down on those things that God gives us. Like, I don't care if it's a blog or if it's just going picking rocks with motivation. I don't know, but like, do it, do it. Just do it. Like, you never know.
And you have to keep doing it, because a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times not everybody's going to understand, and not everybody's going to be on your side, but
Yeah.
there's going to be people that need you and like I needed you for my purpose that God
Mm-hmm.
has for me to reach other people out there that are hurting, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I listen to God, like, where am I, how am I going to put this out there with the budget that I have, with the money
Mm-hmm.
that I have, right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's so important, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
some people would never think that, oh, I'm going to go spend thousands of dollars. That's the only way you can get out there and get a book to sell and be a bestseller. That's
Mm-hmm.
not God's way. That's not the kingdom way. God
Yeah.
said, I'm going to do this for you, because it's not about making the money. It's about reaching the people. It's
Yeah.
about reaching my people that are hurting. And
Yeah.
that's the whole purpose of the book,
Mm-hmm.
of the book that I wrote, because
Mm-hmm.
when I wrote the book, it took me a year to write that book. And even when I got to the last part of the book, I put it down and I wasn't going to pick it back up.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to pick it back up. And I thought to
Mm-hmm.
myself, what am I going to do with this? Like, who's going to buy this? Who's going to pick it up? Like, and
I
I
know
just,
about that, right?
and I was like, I'm not, and I just put it down, and I had one more chapter. And I said to myself, it's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
And it was this past December, when God said, pick it up and finish it. It's got to be
Mm-hmm.
done by the 31st of the end of the December.
Mm-hmm.
And I picked it up and I finished it.
Praise
And he said,
God.
publish it by the end of January. I put it on Amazon. It was done.
Yes. Yes.
And, when you listen to God and you follow what he tells you to do,
Mm-hmm.
he's gonna make it happen. It's not for me, it's for him. It's for
Mm-hmm.
his purpose and for his kingdom. And it's hard. It's not easy to do his work.
Yes, and you're right. You're right. That girl, that's a whole other conversation too, right?
It's another conversation, because people are gonna talk about, people that are your friends. You think
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna support you, they're not gonna support you. They're
Mm-hmm.
gonna, and it's a time where you think about Jesus, and how people just turn their back on him
Mm-hmm.
when he was,
Yeah.
he went through so much, and it makes you really put yourself in his shoes. Why am
Mm-hmm.
I, who am I to say when someone's rejecting me, and when he went through the worst rejection ever
Mm-hmm.
for us,
Yeah.
for us. So yeah, it's just,
I,
to be.
Man, I'm right there with you. Like, honestly, well, of course, y'all just heard, right? She has no channel, and that is awesome, okay?
It just,
And
yeah,
she told us a little sneak peek about this book, but we definitely got to hear more about it and things of that nature. But I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for being obedient and then getting it done. Um, putting it out. I love the fact that there's such an easier access to things like becoming an author or even putting out music. Like I'm doing it in an alternative way. I'm working on it right now. But like you said, we got to find a way to do it in our budgets or whatever the case may
right,
be. But
right,
because there's so much access and with the internet and all these different type of things,
right,
it has opened the door. Like, yes, it can be used for evil as well. We see how people do that. But kingdom people, you know what I'm saying? We can be using these things to our benefit as well. And so, it sounds like again you used it to get your book published and stuff like that. Because I remember back in the day, at least reading about it, about authors
right,
having to go to a publisher and get it approved and all that type of stuff. And you're like,
right,
you just get it done. You know what I mean? You write
right,
the editing, whatever like that, or and then you upload it, and now you're an author. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
right,
definitely like even when I started the podcast, one of the things that I say convicted me, but kind of made me go forward with it. That is, it's a whole story, but long story short, by the second time it came back around for me to do a podcast, the idea I looked into it and I saw it was as easy as me like downloading an app. And I was like, oh, I mean, well, I guess I can do that,
yeah,
And then here we are today, you know what I'm saying? So it's just, and I have no clue. Like if I wasn't obedient that time, I have no clue where I would be or what would be happening or what I'd be doing. I've seen so much purpose in just having GSL or just having the outlet of doing daily inspiration when I was doing that, and all the different things or the talk show now, which was the
right,
original vision for GSL, but it's different. Like the way this is happening is way different than what I thought it was going to be. But
right,
right now I'm in Texas, right? And stuff like that, and because of the way that God had it, put
right,
together and stuff. So again, I guess if I'm not saying nothing else, somebody out there that use these things to your benefit, like people think like I hate that we get so discouraged. Well, I don't know why I'm
right,
so much today. I'm
right,
sorry, but I
right,
feel like we just get so discouraged, and we think like, oh, and I get it. Sometimes we gotta be, we feel like it has to be this way or it has to be like this or
right,
whatever.
right,
But God is like, just pull your camera out.
right.
Just go live.
Do it.
Just download the app.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Do
just
it.
publish your book. You know what I'm saying? Like, stop. I feel like you said, you were saying you told yourself, but we know who that was speaking to you, right? That was the enemy trying to put that idea in your head to say there's no purpose for your book. You know what I mean? And we reject that because obviously there is purpose for it. And so let's learn. Let's learn. So what's going on with the book? What inspired you, Miss Nurse? You nursing, you HR, you training people to be nurses, XYZ, and now you've become an author. So what has inspired this book?
God put on my heart so many years ago that I was going to write a book.
Mm,
And I actually started to write a book years ago, but it was so funny the way I did it. I went online and I started to like get these different resources where I was like doing formats, like
mm,
these little they did like these little bubble like you would do like I can't remember it was like a bullet format thing,
mm.
and you would put the circle in the middle and then all of the different titles, and I kept like just I got frustrated and I felt like I was like it's not time, I was like it's either not time or it's not God, I was like I put it down, and that was, I want to say years ago. I can't even remember, but I do remember because one day I was this is when we worked in the office before COVID. Um, and I went to my desk and someone left me a book on my desk. It was a devotional looking book. It was a little book, and it had faith on it. And it had a quote, a scripture, and I never knew who left that to me there. Nobody ever told me who left it, right? And so I just remember using that book to start my journal, my to start the book. And then I just kind of left it, and I would write in it, and then I left it, and I just never picked it up again. Thought, okay, it's just not going to happen. Well, about 3 years ago, my mom got sick with cancer. She got sick. I was going through a really bad, my husband and I were having some issues. We were both in ministry, really heavy in ministry leadership. We were in marriage ministry. I was a children's pastor. He decided he didn't want to be in the church anymore. So I continued to go to church. He decided he didn't want to be married anymore. So he left me, and it was very devastating. I went through a really, really dark time. Our family was really close. Our kids were very close to him. He left us with nothing. My mom died. My mom died in May. Our divorce finalized in June. Just put it that way. So those two things happened so close together. After that, my world just spiraled down. I kind of turned away from the Lord after that, and things just got really dark. So I went into just a different world. I thought the enemy really convinced me that I was in a time in my life where I needed to give myself the opportunity to have some fun and give the world a chance, because I'd lived in the other world for so long, and look what happened, you know? So, I did that for a little while, and during that time, I had always seek God. I would go in the closet and I'd cry, and I'd get on my knees, and I'd grab my Bible, and I'd say, God, where are you? Where are you, God? And during that time, I was journaling. I was journaling a lot, and so I just remember, fast forward now, how I thought God wasn't there, but He was. He was there the whole time. And He carried me. He carried me through that whole season. And that's really what my book is about. It talks about how God carried me through that dark time, and how even though we don't think He's there, He is there. And even though we think that we can't use those moments to grow us, we can, because I look at myself where I'm at now, and I'm just in awe of where I am. Wow, I never thought that. I honestly felt I was going to still be in that dark place. And I still visualize God pulling me out of that hole. Scripture, that says where He pulls you He grabs you out of the hole and put me on the rock. I would see that all the time. He put me on the rock, and He carried me through that darkness. I could see it. And He would carry me through the darkness, and He would take me to the light, and He would put me on this chair, and I would see this all the time. And I know that this was His way of speaking to me and showing me that He was there. And He would put me on the chair, and He would wash my face, and He would hug me. And it was just so beautiful because, He was there, He was. And the book just talks about, it's a story, devotional. I call it a devotional story of different parts of my story. And it just kind of goes through a part of my story, which, is relatable, right? And it'll give you a part to ponder on, just to kind of think about and to pray on, and just like a devotional. And so my prayer is that it reaches people that like me, that went through or are going through what I went through. I felt so alone, and that's why the book was written. I felt so alone, even though I had people in my life, even though I had family, and I felt like I was so alone, and but I really know in my heart that God, it was all, even though the enemy, you know what the Bible says, what the enemy meant for evil, God always turns around for good. And that scripture is so powerful because it is so true. It is so true. God, even though God's like, yeah, go ahead, go ahead and see what you can do. Watch what happens. I'm gonna make her into something even more special, like you're just gonna, you think you can do what you can, go ahead, whatever. But yeah, it's really amazing to see how God can work in when it happens to you. You hear stories about other people, but when it's you, it's even more special and amazing. It really is.
I mean, special and amazing is definitely your testimony. Like, honestly, I can see why the enemy's trying to fight you from publishing, I'm sorry to hear about both of your parents for sure.
Yeah.
And everything. Both passed away from cancer as well. So, are there checks to do? Well, I guess there are like breast checks to do, but I'm like, is there cancer checks that people can do in their families? Like, I mean, are you? That's another conversation. I don't know if you want to go there or not, but anywho, I am curious about. So you say you got divorced, and so what's the status today?
Oh, well, I have a wonderful husband now, and we live here in Dickinson. I'm very happily married now. So
So
life.
not that husband.
No, no.
Okay.
Yes.
I didn't know if there was redemption. I was like, did he come back? Like,
Unfortunately, he's still in a, sad. Yeah,
That,
it's a sad situation.
that's and you say that both of you guys were in ministry and whatnot as well. I mean, we know that the enemy is attacking marriage anyway. You know what I mean? And then both of y'all being in ministry, like, he definitely coming for y'all. Like, so, like, I mean, I guess I get it. I'm sorry to hear that, you guys weren't able to fight together,
Right.
to remain together. But
Yeah.
that, God saw fit for you to sign up again. And it sounds like you're very happy. So that's what I like to hear and stuff too. And so, well, I'm glad to at least hear the redemptive things about you, your life, and you didn't give up on love. 'Cause I literally just started thinking about marriage. Something like, marriage is for men, and I'm like, these marriages that people just try to push about it. I'm like, so it can get very discouraging. I'm glad to be off the market myself. I went through my whole journey. That would be another conversation. Just looking at what's going on right now, I'm like, I am so glad. Like, I just look at my husband and say, I appreciate you for off the market. Oh, I don't know. I would. Times. There's a lot going on. So I'm glad you off the market too. You look very at peace with joy. Look at you. Look at you. Just
Yeah.
This is what marriage looks like, y'all. Happiness and love, Don't believe the hype of what those people try to say about love and
marriage. That's right.
And you can have the love of Jesus in your marriage, okay?
That's right. Right.
Well, I mean, okay, so we got the book out, you know what I'm saying? You're out here promoting it now. So again, congratulations on all of that. You gotta definitely tell. So what is it called? And things like that.
Healing Battle, The War Within. So yes, it's out on Amazon. You can buy it on Amazon. I actually just am about to publish the journal to go with it. So there's a journal. It's called The Healing Me. So it'll be out probably next week, I think, to go with it. And I'll be there'll be a promo for the Kindle version of the book on starting on April 7th for free for a week. You can get the book for free, the Kindle version. Yeah. So you can go on there and get it for free for a week. Yeah, the book. Yeah.
I'm like that too, man, with my stuff. You know, my books and whatnot. I'm like, I'll give it to you if it's gonna help you. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, like, yeah, I know we're supposed to be selling this. You know, it's supposed to be part of the business, but at the same time, I'm like, you know, what God gets is freely given, I'll freely give all the time. It's just that, you know, if you want a whole story, you're gonna give a book. If you want, if I can just give it to you and it's gonna help you in your life, you're gonna actually read it, I will give it to you. Like, so I get it. I do the same thing.
I wish I could give everybody but I do try to give as much as I can. Yes.
I see your, and I don't know if I'm speaking out of turn or whatever right now, but I definitely could see that the book and everything you got going on could definitely be a healing or an encouraging thing for a lot of people. Definitely women too. You know, because I feel like there's a lot of people that I've even observed, women for sure, that are feeling like they're in that dark place, like you said, like feeling like there is no hope, feeling like, and then the thing is, when the enemy gets us in that place, he's trying to get us to do the ultimate thing, which is take our own lives or maybe harm somebody else or whatever the case may be.
Right.
And it's like, you know, so I'm so glad to hear that you were able to, you know, through this situation, you knew where to go. Like you was in your prayer closet, you was with the board, journaling, you know, things of that nature. But unfortunately, when we don't have that instilled in us, right? We don't know where to go, and then we see the alternative. We see what that looks like in the world, on the news, and what people do when they feel like they have no hope or they have no purpose and stuff like that. Like, what? I mean, what would you say is the thing that helped you to understand that, you know what? Maybe you didn't feel like God was there in your moments, but like you still knew where to go. So, and I know. So, what helped you to know where to go in those moments?
Thinking about my history with God, like when he's come through for me in the past, like that's what helped me. Like if I know that he's done this for me before, why wouldn't he do this for me again? You know, that helped me. That was refreshing for me. So, and as much as the enemy, like you said, tries to hammer into our minds that, you know, it's over, it's done, you know, look what happened, you know, why is he gonna you still, those things don't change. Like, why would he keep doing those things for us over and over? You have a history with something that happens and you know that that thing keeps happening, and they prove, like someone proves themselves to you. Why are you gonna, you trust them, right? You trust they have proved themselves to you, right? So that's God. I mean, God's not gonna, he doesn't lie. He's faithful to us. So that's what kept me grounded. That's what kept me grounded.
This makes me think about the type of, I can't remember where I read it, either I read it or heard it, but either way, over the years with all my studies and whatnot, um, someone pointed out how basically Adam and Eve believed the lie, even though they had been walking with God. God gave them everything. You know, like I said, he's been there, he's done all the things, but somehow they believed the lie of someone that came out of nowhere, basically, you know, and didn't have their best interest in heart, you know, and things like that. And we're the same way, you know, unfortunately, we tend to forget sometimes that, like you said, one of the things, there's another quote that I've been hearing or seeing lately where they're like, you made it through every bad thing you've ever experienced. You know, like if you're still alive, you made it through all negative things. So
that is good. Yeah, that's
so why can't we just, hopefully this will encourage and inspire people to remember that, hey, God is always there. remember footprints in the sand, the poem if you need to, like whatever it is to let you know that, hey, you can feel alone, you feel like it's a dark place, you feel like it's the worst thing ever, like,
Right.
you probably feel like, well, whatever, but hopefully some of this will remind you that no, it's not. And, if I can live another day or, I have another breath or whatever the case may be, I can change my situation or I can, you know, not allow those thoughts to consume me. I can know that, you know what? No, I made it through, or God did help me through, or,
Yes.
all these different types of things. Speaking of, I would love to hear the love story because I mean, again, finding love again after what you went through is definitely can be an inspiration and whatnot. And so, if you feel, if you want to share a little about that, feel free. If not, you're like, girl, it ain't y'all business. I'm like, okay, that's fine.
Well, JB and I actually met in on Match.com. And so we weren't anticipating being where we are today because we were both in a dark place. But what's crazy is were our we were healing together and didn't even know it. And fast forward, here we are, like both in this wonderful place together, like happy, and we've built this beautiful home together. And like right now, he loves to plant. Like he is so drives me crazy with all his plants outside and come see the gardenias, come see the, and like before it was like we were partying in the bars and going to, I mean, we have a very dark past, but we've been redeemed and God has done some awesome things. What the enemy, like you said, meant for evil, God has turned around. We are a miracle story, couple story. It's amazing. He was an alcoholic. He's sober now. So that's another podcast, like I said, but just a little bit about that. So yeah, God is amazing, and he's done so many things. And one thing I do want to say is that a lot of people think that, once you get to this point in life, and you're like, oh, look at these people, they're great now. She wrote a book and you're still going to endure trials and tribulations in life. Always remember that, we're not all perfect people. We're still walking that path. We're just relying heavily on the Lord to help us because the enemy's fighting us even harder. And we're having to wake up every day and punch that Satan in the face and say, you know what? Today, not today. You know how they say, not today, Satan. We really have to say that, and some days we got to say it more than one time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I encourage people because I used to be that person and be like, man, look at that person on, YouTube or on that podcast or on the, and I know you can speak more to that too, being, someone that's a Christian and on podcast, and I'm sure you endure, your trials and tribulations as someone that's out there trying to, spread the good news and work for the kingdom too.
Yes, ma'am. Girl, don't get me started. Don't get me started. But I was kind of doing it, but like all the way you were talking is just reflect on even just last year my marriage was all the time. My marriage be tested, like I'm tested, all these different type of things. So you're right. I think as believers, I try to say this a lot here on GSL, but just because you ain't never heard me say it, y'all, like as believers, we should, I guess, expect the persecution, honestly. Like, we should expect it. It's coming one way or another, and it comes in like random ways where you're like, oh, I wasn't even expecting that this would happen or whatever. But yes, he's trying, Satan, the enemy, how you want to acknowledge him, trying to do his thing. But at the end of the day, I think that's again the beauty of the gospel, right? At the end of the day, I think even last year when I was being really tested heavily and stuff, I was like, what, Lord, now I understand why you had to do it. You know what I mean? Because I like you were saying, people present themselves, maybe even other believers or podcast or whoever, people present themselves as if they're perfect or if they don't do any wrong now. I came to Christ and everything is great. And I was like, oh, well, yeah, everything is great. But, there, like you said, there's still trials and tribulations. There's still testing. There's still temptations. There's still all the things, but we handle it differently because we have Christ. So as I'm going through my stuff, I'm going to God like, hey, Lord, so look, you know this, you know that. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I'm coming here on, when I was doing the juice daily, I'm like, look, I fell short today. You know what I mean? Or whatever the case may be. So we can handle those situations differently, but I think we're doing a disservice as believers to put it out there like there's no other issues or something like that. And so I feel
right.
what you just said, I mean, I shared it on the platform as well. Just I think being open, honest, and transparent about the reality it'd be more beneficial to help people than to sit here and act like, oh no, you still struggle with this or that? Oh well, no, not me because I come to Christ and there's struggles,
Right, yeah. I mean, not to give so much credit to the enemy, right? But at least to be a little bit more real about life and to just say, hey, you know what? I'm your brother, your sister in Christ, and I want to be real with you and say, even though right now it looks like this is really what life is about. And I'm here to stand with you on, whatever happens because that's what we're supposed to do. We're not supposed to judge each other. We're supposed to stand with each other. Yeah, I'm going to tell you when you're doing something wrong, but I'm also going to hold you up, So, yeah, I've just been to so many different churches and worked in leadership, and I've seen so many different things, that I've learned how to just really, I just wanted people to know that it's important that we as Christians need to be more transparent, more accepting of people.
Yeah.
Biblically, in a biblical way. I'm saying that in a biblical way,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Just like that verse says, it's like such were some of you. You know what I mean? Like all the things we're pointing at somebody else, like we were that at one point. And so that's why we all should give each other grace and mercy. Understand that God gave it to us. I mean, I say it all the time here. They probably tired of me saying it, but I feel like again, we love it when it's for us. Thank you, Lord. Grace and mercy, yes, please. But then when it comes to give that to your sister, give that to your brother, it's like, oh, justice. No, they need to go down for whatever they did. It's like, who are we? We're no better than that guy in the parable that got pardoned and then went and choked out the guy that owed him less than what he owed. So it's just, I'm enjoying this conversation, but I know at some point we got to wrap or whatever the case may be, because you got probably little books or love and marriage stuff to do. I don't know. But is there anything else you would like to share with us before you go?
No, I think that was really it. I'm glad that we got to talk today and share Jesus and the book and also hear about you. I was excited about that, just being here. Thank you for having me.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for being here as well. Remind us, where can we find you on social media, your book, everything like that?
Yes, I'm not on myself on social media. My book is, so you can find me on TikTok, The Healing Battle, War Within. Instagram, my handles on there is The Healing Battle, War Within. And I'm on Pinterest. I'm not on Facebook yet. I'm working on that. But you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest, and those three for now. And I'm on. You can buy the book on Amazon, and don't forget about the promo. You can get the free Kindle version starting April 7th for that week. And you guys have a blessed rest of the week. Thank you so much, and again, thank you for having me.
I appreciate it, and thank you so much for visiting us. Thank you so much for watching the GSL Talk Show, and thank you to Miss Leticia for joining us tonight. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Check out Miss Leticia's books and the rest of her endeavors. Have a good night.